Welcome, everybody. We're glad to have you with us this afternoon. I'm Don Snow. I'm up in Provo now. I came up here from St. George last week, and so I'm here for the next couple of months for doctors and other things, and so on. Gerhard Roof, our host, who's hosting these and president of our Utah Valley Technology and Genealogy Group, is over in Orem. So he's only a mile or two away from where I am now. Our subject today is the file program Everything. Now, this is a freeware program, and it is a very helpful program, and I use it on a regular basis. We'll talk about where the notes are stored and the other details here in just a minute. At the bottom of the screen here, you see the link where the notes are, and Gerhard will post a PDF of those on the on both the chat in Zoom if you're watching this on Zoom, or in the comments if you're watching this on Facebook. And the video of this will be on Facebook for the next couple of months, and then it'll be permanently on our UVTAGG website, or on the website for those who are members, but also on the YouTube channel, the UVTAGG website, the YouTube channel, where anybody can watch it for the next, well, permanently. UVTAGG is Utah Valley Technology and Genealogy Group, and we've been in operation now for 30-something years. It's the old PAF users group from years ago. This is Tuesday, the 24th of May of 2022, and we're ready to go. This is the program Everything. This is what we're going to be talking about today, and we'll demo it. A good share of the time will be spent demoing it. It's a free program. It's a Windows program, but there's something comparable for Macs, and I find it really helpful. I've been using it now for 10, 15 more years. It's really good. It will find file titles and folder titles. It won't search inside the file or inside the folder. That's another whole lesson, but it will find the titles, and you'll find lost stuff. And I find it, whoops, I didn't mean to click back on that. Let me go back here on that. It will search your entire computer. You don't need to know where it was on the computer, and you can set it so that it won't search certain things or hard drives or whatever. I have 3 hard drives in my computer, and so I have it search all 3 of those hard drives. And if you want it to search a flash drive, when you plug in a flash drive, it'll do that too. It's easy to work with, and the results, you can work with the results once you find them, as you'll see. So it's a really helpful program on there. You download it, and there's links to download it. And once you've got it downloaded and you find something, you can open the file, or you can work with the file. You can move it, or you can rename it right there without having to open it in a program that it might open in. For example, if it's a text file, without opening it in a text file, you can rename it. And hence it's a very handy program to use. Or you can delete the file, or you can move it around and collect them up in different places. Got a lot of features, and we're going to look at some examples. Now, it's a free program, and so I've got a little PowerPoint, not PowerPoint, but it's an AVI video that I made a few years ago from the song "The Best Things in Life Are Free." And I just thought of this the other day, and I thought, I got to show this. It's a short one. It's only a minute or two long. Let me do a Windows D, and I put it in this right there in that folder. So I'm going to click on this, and this should start up. There it is. And you'll hear the song.
The moon belongs to everyone. The best things in life are free. The stars belong to everyone. They gleam there for you and me. The flowers in spring,
the robins that sing,
the sunbeams that shine, they're yours, they're mine, and love can come to everyone. The best things in life are
that's a film strip that we made. And I made that several years ago with that photo film strip that we talked about last time. Remember, I showed one last time of my kids growing up, and I put the sunrise, sunset for the music and behind that one. But anyway, that was, I just thought I had to show you that from the freeware. Now, the class notes, let's talk a little bit about the class notes as to where they are and the details. And by the way, if you're watching this from on Zoom or from Facebook, tell us where you're from. It's always interesting to know where you're coming from because we end up with people from different states all around the US and sometimes even international on this. This is where the notes are stored. That's my web page. And we'll show what that is. The notes are on there that are in detail for all my past classes. And so whatever the class was, you can always look at it and see. Now, if you're watching this 6 months from now, there may be an updated version of the notes, but they'll always be linked on the same place. Let me, whoops, that isn't what I wanted to get into. I wanted to do a control or an alt. Let's see, I need to do an alt tab. There's tab and get into the notes, which are, where are the notes? They're in, is this the one? No, that's not the one. I had them open. I can't figure out which one of these is the notes. Oh, this is the one. It had them here. Okay, here we go. Now this is the class notes page. That link that was in there will take you to this, and that link is on several places. Or if you just do a Google search for Donald R. Snow, you'll come up with these notes. This is the class notes page itself. There's several other sub pages on here, and as you scroll down a little while, you find here classes coming up. This is the one today. We'll click on that here in just a minute. But down below here is how to watch these and so on, and then where all the past classes are. And the past classes, the videos for the last, oh, I don't know, more than a year, 2 years or so are already posted on there. Let me click on, well, I've already clicked on this, but that's this set of notes right here. So if you click on that, here's the program, the notes. It's the file program. I call it the file program everything. There's an abstract about it. That'll give you the details as to what we're going to be talking about and so on. There's the welcome and the introduction, and there's how to contact me. My email address is in a lot of different places. And if you're watching this 6 months from now and you got a question, I'll be glad to try and answer it for you. Item 4 down here is the problem for today, that everything is what we're looking for and wanting to discuss and what it is. Here's about everything. That's where you can download it. That's the link to download it. And here's an article from Wikipedia about it that you may find helpful. There's information on here about what it will do and the search box and how you search on things. And there's more details on that coming up a little bit later on. As we scroll on down here in these notes, there's a section here on helps and options. And this gives you the information on, for example, what you do for the different settings. You can set it the way you want it to, so that it'll operate the way you want it to find the information and to show you the information that you want. It has a whole lot of features, and I keep discovering new features in it all the time. So we'll be looking at a lot of these things, not everything in here, but all the details are in here so that you can go back and look at it in detail later on. There's the syntax that's in finding files or folders. Here's the syntax things, and we'll be illustrating these. Just a space means and if you don't want something in there, you use an exclamation point before it, and so on. We'll talk more about the details on that, as you'll see in a little bit. Anyway, here's a lot of stuff on finding files and what you can do with them once you found them. It has a preview pane that you can turn on or off. The preview pane is over on the right side, and if you highlight a file, on the left side, the title of it, it will show you what the first page looks like over on the right side. So if it's a text file, it'll show you what the first page of the text is. Or if it's a PDF, it'll show you what the PDF looks like. Or whatever kind of a file it is, it'll show you the picture over on the right side. And you can see that. If it's a photo, it'll show you the photo over there. And then you can rename it or move it or whatever you want to do with it without having to open it up in some other program. There's a large thumbnail view, which may help you in searching. I've been able to find some stuff because I knew that it was on colored paper, and I'd scanned it, but I hadn't relabeled it. I just wrote scanned on a certain date. And so I just did a search for scanned and did the large thumbnail view. And then I could look for the colored paper and see what the colored papers were, click on each one, and I was able to find what I was looking for from that. And then there's some conclusions down here about that you might find it helpful. And I've been using it for a long time now and have found it very helpful. Okay, now that gives you an idea of what the notes are, so you don't have to take notes yourself. All right, let me go back to, let's see, an Alt Tab, and to get back over here to, that's the class notes. The next thing we want to look at will be examples and demos, so that you'll actually see it in operation. Once you see it in operation, you'll get some ideas as to what you can do with it yourself. So I'm going to open up the program itself, and I think I had it running. Yeah, it's running right here. Just before this class, we were looking for the video, the PowerPoint that I wanted to use. We'd renamed it, and so we did a search for it. Gerhard said, "Why don't you do a everything search?" There it is. That's we found it. Now let me close up here at the top. That's the search box. It's been installed on my computer, so it's running now. And the first time you run it, it has to go through all your hard drives and catalog everything, all files and all folders, everything that's in there in any location. So I'm going to back off on this stuff so that I've got everything cleared out of that search up there. Now, what's on here is every file and everything. I don't think I got everything off of there yet. There. This now is showing everything on all 3 hard drives that are in this computer. There's a solid state hard drive that's 500 gigs that it boots from, and there's 2 terabyte hard drives that are the normal kind of hard drives, not a solid state. And so this is cataloged everything that's in there. It took about a minute for it the first time it ran through. And so every file folder and every file is listed here. If you look down at the bottom, there's a number. I can't see it without turning on the magnifier, but maybe you can. It's right down there in the bottom. That tells you how many total objects there are that it found on these 3 hard drives. And you can set different things the way you want it. Now, let me use an illustration here. Up here in the top, I'm going to click on, let's do HTML. This is the files, the program that Gerhard had to help me get this thing straightened out to get my notes posted and to get them corrected. Did I type HTML correctly? Yeah. You saw how fast that worked. Now, this is a reasonably fast computer, but even on a slow computer, it'll work pretty fast like that. What you're seeing on the screen now is every file and every folder that has the word, has the letters HTML in it. That quick. Now I'll put a space in here. Remember, a space means and. So I want this. Now, if I want things that I've written in 2022, 2022. In that instant of time, it is now showing every HTML file on this computer that has 2022 written into it. If I want to know all those that were done in May of 2022, my system is with this international date format is a -05. There's everyone in that length of time, everyone that's on the entire computer, all 3 hard drives in any folder, that folder or file that have that in it, the HTML and the year and today and the date, well, of May on there. So if you're looking for something that you've lost on there that you thought was gone, just do a search for it. If it was a text file, search for all .txts. If it was a picture and you lost the picture, let me go back and let me wipe that out. I'll go back here and blank that out. I'll put .jpg. Whoops, I got something wrong. What did I get wrong?
You misspelled it. It's HPG.
Oh, .jpg. I have a hard time saying the keyboard. My eyesight is getting so bad that there's every JPEG .jpg file on all three of these hard drives. And if I thought I'd lost one, if I got the one that didn't have a name that was something I could find, it would show up here as a JPG file. Now remember that if you want an and, then it's a space. So if I were looking for all the photos and I wanted the JPGs and all of the TIFs, if I put a space .tif, that would say I was looking for all files or folders that had both JPEG and TIFF in them, that had in the title, and there wouldn't be any of those. So you need the or if you want to say all the JPEGs or the TIFFs. And so the or is that pipe thing. Pipe is it's a vertical line. On my computer, it's on the backslash. I think I got it. Or .tif. Okay, now what it's showing in that length of time is every JPEG and every TIFF. Some of those should be TIFFs. There should be some TIFFs in here. If I got it spelled right, because I put the or in there. So I don't have very many TIFFs.
Don, you have a space between the pipe and the period on TIFF.
I think that, I'm not sure that will work. I don't know whether you need a space or not. You probably don't. That's probably why it's not showing up. Let me back over. Is that backed over far enough?
One more.
One more. Okay, now I'll put pipe.
You've got a pipe already.
Oh,
now you just put a backslash on.
Oh, okay.
It's
You
gone.
get rid of the backslash.
Yes.
Okay, now TIF. Now it should show, so I don't have very many TIFFs on here, but anyway, it should, there's an example.
There's one.
There's a TIFF, yeah. So there's an example in the notes there about to do all the JPEGs, TIFFs, and I think I put PNG, and there may be a couple of other file formats that you'd want for photos. To solve all that problem, I've got my naming system is I put the word photo, PHOTO, in capital letters at the start of a photo, and then I put the date it was taken. That's another whole lesson, though, another whole class. But you can see the power of this thing. That's an or. If I took out that pipe thing and just put .tiff, it'd say it's looking for all JPEGs and TIFFs with the two terms in there, and I probably wouldn't find anything at all. So that's not what you want. Now with this, I'm going to back over here so clear that all off. Okay, so we're back to just the showing every file in the whole thing. Let me type in my dad's name, ELD, Eldon Stafford Snow. Oh, I must have made a mistake. What did I get wrong?
You put an E on the end of Stafford.
Okay. S-T-A-F-F-O-R-D.
Hold on. You've put E.L. Stafford.
E-L-D-O-N. S-T-A-F-F-O-R-D. Snow. Okay, now what you're seeing here is every file and folder that has the words Eldon and Stafford and Snow in them, and it could be in any order. And so there they are. There's all the names. Now my naming convention here is, see, there's a bunch of photos with my dad. and so on, that's got the photo and the date was taken, etc. And so you can see what's going on with that as to the number of people. Now let me show you what this pane, the preview pane over on the right side is. You see over on the right, in fact, if you highlight this whole thing, let me highlight one of those things, and there's a bar down here at the bottom that you can drag across. That shows you where this thing is stored. So there's the path over here on the right side, and the date it was created and the date it was modified, and so on. If you want to sort by everything in a particular path, you just click up here in that area, and now these are completely sorted by the path. So they're no longer sorted by the name over here, they're sorted in the path that they're all in. So that if you want to find the ones that are in the wrong place, you just sort them, find the name of the file, then click on the path over here, and then just start scrolling down through the path, find the ones that are in the wrong place that you want to move, highlight them, and you can drag them and drop them into another place. Or if you want to sort them by the date, you can sort them by the date that they were created or that they were modified. Now with that over there, let me move this scroll bar back, if I can see it down there. Let's see if I'd turn on that
A little higher.
there it is. Okay, I'd turn on the magnifier, but the magnifier, which I have to use because of my eyesight, my poor eyesight. But by the way, if you hold down the control key, you can make this thing bigger. I'm holding down the control key and rolling the mouse wheel. If I roll the mouse wheel one click, it makes it so that it's bringing it up and making it larger and larger. I'll roll the mouse wheel back down. Okay. All right. Now, with that on there, up at the top, now I am going to have to turn on the magnifier so I can see it. Now let's see, a Windows Plus turns it on. I'll turn this off in a minute because it's very annoying to see it, but I need to see it for up here. You see up here at the top, there's these words, and that in part of the notes, I talk about what's in each of these words of the menu. Here's the view menu, and there's a preview. You see that preview? I'm going to turn that on. Now notice what happened over here on the right. No, we turn that magnifier off. Anything that shows up here on the left, you see a picture of it over here on the right. That happens to be a picture of a yearbook. There's a file, probably a PDF. I'd have to look at it because I've got it covered up. That's an envelope that I scanned from a letter from my dad, probably. There's a letter and so on. So you see over on the right, you see the information. I'm just going down the line here on this. That's the preview pane. And you can change the size of that preview pane by moving your cursor. You see where it turned into that big arrow? You can move that over, make it a little bit smaller or a little bit larger, and so on, so that it'll take a little bit of time for it to catch up to where you want it. There, I'll leave it right there. Okay, now then it'll show it like that. And you can rename these without having to open it in something. That's a major plus on this. I was renaming things. I would open it up in whatever the program was, the text file. I'd open it and see what was in it, and then I'd have to try and remember it, and then name it, and then open it up to make sure I got it right. Here, you don't have to open it up. You can name it right now. So in this thing, if you just right click, one of the options is to rename. I right clicked on there, and rename is down here somewhere. I find it helpful just to hit the F2 key, which means rename. There's the rename. And so now I can rename that any way that I wanted to. So if you find a picture and you want to rename it, just highlight it here. And without having to open it, it'll show up over on the right if you turn that preview pane on. And then it will allow you to rename the thing so that you can find it where you want it. I keep finding old files on these computers that back when we used to only use 8 characters, and we'd have to try to have different ways of doing it. And in some cases, I used a code that I'd tried to figure out something to figure out in 8 characters what it was. If I find something old like that, I give it a new name. If I don't want to take the full time now, I just give it a name, like if it's something that relates to my dad or some ancestor, I rename it with the ancestor's name so that it will show up next time I do a search for that ancestor. And then I can do the full rename to actually give it the full name. If I want to take time at the time, then I do the full rename then. That's certainly the simplest thing. But sometimes when I'm busy doing other things, I don't want to take time to rename the other stuff that I found. Anyway, you get the idea of what happens on that. Now, if you go up here to the top and let's back over there so they get rid of that. Let me put in here Dawn, Donald, Ray, Snow. There's a bunch of stuff for me. And so this is my stuff, and I've got that preview pane turned on. In some cases, if it can't tell what it is, it won't show the preview pane. So some of these things, there's a bunch of duplicates I got to get rid of. And by the way, I have found this helpful to get rid of duplicates. Like if I copy all of these things that relate to me, if I hold down a Control A, the Windows property, if you hold down the Shift key, if you highlight something like that and then hold down the Shift key while you click something else, it highlights everything in between. And now you can drag that with the right mouse and drag it over onto your desktop or put it into another folder. And if there's a bunch of stuff that's duplicated, it'll say this name, file with this same name or folder is over here already. What do you want to do? Do you want to save this one, or do you want to replace the file that's over there? And you have your options. You can say, show me both of them, and you can save both if you want to, and then it will put I think it's a subscript 1 or subscript 2 or something on there. And then you can look at it later to change it. Or if you're sure it's the same thing, because it's exactly the same size and created on the same date, then just replace it. And you get rid of the duplicates without a whole lot of work. So I find it very handy to work with. Okay, now that's the preview pane. Let me turn back on that my magnifier so that I can get back up here. And instead of clicking on preview, I'm going to click down here on large thumbnails. Okay, now what it's showing, now let me turn off that thing again.
Don, you asked me to tell you when there were just a couple of minutes left.
Yeah, are we about done? Okay, good. We're just about finished here. Okay, now what you're seeing here are file folders. And if I scroll down, there's file names, and notice that it's got, if they're PDFs, it shows PDFs. If they're text files, it shows what the text files are. And I was able to find, here's some sound files so that you can see what the sound, there's some videos. And so it'll find all these different kinds of things in there. And I was able to find, even though I hadn't labeled them properly, I could find the file because I knew it was on colored paper, or it was called, what I was searching for were what we call the Meadow Lark. It's the HOA, the Homeowners Association newsletter from where my condo is in St. George. And I wanted to find all those and compile them. And I'd scanned a bunch, but I hadn't labeled them. And if I'd labeled them, I wouldn't have to worry about it. But anyway, you can see the power of this thing by turning on the large thumbnails. Okay, let me go back here to get rid of that, and let's see if we got something else we need to talk about here. Let's see, back up here to view, and I'll put, let's see, I want to turn off that scan. Where's that view? There's view. And just back to the details. Okay, I think I'm back. Well, I guess I'm not back to the details because those are pictures. Let me, oh, maybe I won't even take time to. I think I'll just leave that the way it is, and go back to let's see, a control. Let's see, a Windows D, no, Alt Tab will get me back to. Here we go, examples. Now we're back to the PowerPoint. So what we've talked about as a summary of this Program Everything, it's a free program, and you can download it. The links are on there. It'll find files, anything that's in the title, any letter, word, character that's in the title, it will find it, and it's fast. It's easy to use. And when I started using this several years ago, I use it now, probably at least 6 or 8 times a day. I'm looking for something because I put it in the wrong folder, or I can't find it where it was, and I need to move it to someplace. It's easy to use and super fast on finding it. There's lots of other features. There's features that I don't even know about here on using it for HTML files and for finding and checking on other websites, bunches of other stuff. Now, the video of this if you tuned in late, the video of this particular class and many of my other classes are both on Facebook. It'll be there. Gerhard posted there for a couple of months, and then it'll be on YouTube permanently. So that'll give you some ideas on it. Okay, do you have questions or comments? And if you're on Zoom, just unmute your mic and ask a question. And Gerhard, if there are any questions on or comments from the from Facebook, tell us what they are.
I haven't seen any comments or questions from Facebook, Don.
Okay. Do any of you that are on Zoom want to unmute your mic and ask a question?
S. Giordano has unmuted.
I have a question, Don.
Okay.
This is Sam Giordano from Henderson.
Hi, Sam, from down in
Hi, how are you?
Anderson, Nevada.
I know, I'm missing you guys.
She's
my
president
question
of the Clark County Genealogy Society down there.
Right.
Sam, what's your question?
So my question is, when you are downloading from your drives, do you do them separately and give them a name, the drive a name, or does it just automatically say D drive or F drive, whatever it is?
You can set it. That's one of the options. Click on the word options up there, and it'll say half a dozen different things. It says, do you want to index all the drives? And if you've named your drives, then it will say, here's the drive C is called this, and drive D is called this. Or if you haven't named them, it'll say, here's drive C. Do you want to do all of drive C? Or you can leave out parts of it. And so sometimes I want to change things because I use my E drive usually as a backup drive that I don't want to screw up. And so sometimes I turn that off and only have it index the C and D drive and not the D, not the E. So whatever you've named it, it'll pick that up. You don't have to worry about that. It'll pick it right up.
Okay, good, thanks.
And it won't rename anything unless you tell it to rename it.
Okay,
But you have your options as to what you want it to do. And there are half a dozen different things. I have it turned on so that it'll make the search terms bright in the titles, so I can tell exactly what I'm looking for. Lots of different things we didn't cover with, but they're in the notes, a good share of them. Any other questions?
thank you.
You bet. Okay, well, if there aren't, I appreciate you folks taking time to watch. And again, this is a Windows program, but there's probably something comparable in Macs. And I don't know about Linux. I don't know whether this would run in a Linux operating system. I've never really tried it. But for Windows, it really is a lifesaver in a lot of occasions. And just before this class today, Gerhard says, why don't you, I said, we renamed that dang file and now it won't pick it up. And so he said, why don't you try everything? I hadn't even thought about trying everything, but it found it immediately what we were looking for. And so I could show this, it was this presentation that I'd renamed. And so it had a different name on it, but it was there. So we found it. So anyway, thank you folks for watching. And this will be the last of our classes, at least for now. And my eyesight is getting so poor with this macular degeneration that I get these eye shots. And in the last 2 months, it's really gotten bad. And if I could find something that would make it so that I could see my computer screen easily, I'd keep on doing these classes. But it took me so long to, what you saw today about it on the details. Anyway, hopefully we'll be able to continue to do some, but for the summer, we're done for sure for now. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you being with us.
Thanks, Don. Enjoy your summer.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Glad to have you with us. All right. Bye.